Hello, my name is Greg Fisher, and thank you for joining this informational webinar, Bridging the Divide, California History Social Science lesson optimized for distance learning. This lesson will be covering the topic of income inequality. It is primarily designed for a 12th grade economics course, although the content is varied, which makes the lesson applicable to other courses, such as U.S. government and U.S. history as well. The lesson is set up on the 5E format. There is a scaffolding and sequencing purpose to the lesson, and the activities are designed for engagement through collaboration and students interacting with the content and each other. It aligns with the format of the hyperdoc, which means that the lesson has links to other documents and sources of learning. The lesson is easy to follow for teachers, and there's background information about the 5E format, which follows. The 5E format walks students through 5 segments of the lesson. The segments include engagement, exploring, explaining, elaborating, and evaluating. The lesson builds upon itself, and there are formative assessments throughout the lesson. A little bit about myself. My name is Greg Fisher. I am newly retired from the Los Angeles Unified School District, where I was a high school principal for the past 7 years and taught all social studies courses, grades 9 through 12, over 3 decades. I am also on the boards of 2 nonprofits, California Council of Economic Education and California Association of School Economics Teachers, which is involved in promoting economic education and training teachers throughout California. About the lesson itself is designed to help students learn about the issue of income inequality, which impacts all of society and explains much of the higher rates of health and social problems and lower rates of social goods, a lower population-wide satisfaction and happiness, and even a lower level of economic growth when human capital is neglected for high-end consumption. The lesson addresses the challenges of distance learning, which includes student engagement, and there are lots of interactive aspects to the lesson. Relevancy, the content will definitely connect to students' personal lives, and choice. There are student options for learning and assessment. In terms of time, there are synchronous and asynchronous modalities, and the lesson is adaptable to learning in a hybrid setting. The lesson is aligned with the C3 History and Social Science framework and standards. There's integration with Common Core ELA, integration with ELD standards, and the lesson is interdisciplinary, as it can be integrated into other disciplines besides economics, including geography, civics, statistics, US history, and social justice. So here's a link to the lesson, and let's get right into it. I'll walk you through its key parts. The exact title of the lesson is To Be Equal or Not? That is the question. This is a high school lesson on income inequality. The purpose of the lesson's objectives are that the students will learn key concepts related to income inequality through research and analysis. Students will develop a deep understanding of different perspectives and why there is an unequal distribution of wealth and income in the United States. Through collaboration, students will interact and learn from each other, and ultimately students will develop skills required to engage in a civil discourse and gain respect for one another's point of view when discussing income inequality. It is also noteworthy to mention that you can use all of the asynchronous time for students to be working in breakout rooms when online. For when you are back in the classroom, students can be set up into groups a whole lot easier. When students have questions, they can be typed into a chat if you're virtually engaging with students. They may use Jamboard or Collaborate Board in a Nearpod platform for student responses during teacher presentations. And that's also extremely helpful educational technology tools to help keep students engaged. So the compelling questions for the lesson are, how does income inequality impact your life? And what are the reasons some people are paid millions while some people merely earn minimum wage? The time duration for the entire lesson is approximately 5 hours for synchronous and 5 hours for asynchronous. All of the standards for the lesson can be seen on the lesson plan itself, as you can see here. Common Core, ELD, and so forth. The supporting questions of the lesson are, 1, what do you believe are the primary causes of unequal resources? Is income distribution unequal because of a lack of growth? Do people across the political spectrum care about unequal resources, or is compassion on this point reserved to one particular political group? Does it matter how we go about trying to remedy unequal resources? If so, what are the differences in approaches that matter most? And is inequality anonymous? So if poor and rich kids swap places, will inequality be less or the same? So before we go into all of the actual activities, know that this lesson was developed for teaching, again, the topic of income inequality in a very comprehensive way. It's up to each individual teacher to decide to what extent they want their students to discover and learn about the topic. You may want to select individual parts of the lesson or hit each section completely. It's entirely up to you to fit this important topic into your curriculum as you see fit. Now, as you can see here, the first section is engagement. To prep and introduce students to the topic, there's an online survey that's on Google Docs, or it also can be transferred to a Nearpod or Pear Deck. Then there's a series of images on Google Slides that students respond to on their Google Doc journal. I call this a Zen presentation. There's no talking by the teacher or the students. It's a series of visual images that give students something to connect with to the actual learning, and designed to evoke intellectual and emotional responses. And you're going to ask students to discuss their ideas with the class. There's no commentary made by the teacher during the showing of the slides. Also, there's, as a part of the engage section, for the teacher to present a set of essential questions to students, and students will use their Google Journal to make their responses. The teacher will then begin the activity, how does the US slice the pie? Where students are asked which slide represents the United States wealth distribution. Once all students make their choice, the teacher reveals the correct pie chart and discusses the data with the students. The next section is explore, and that has the teacher giving the students an operational definition of income inequality. Students will read the text in a Google Doc link and then take notes on the discussion. There's a main PowerPoint that is provided to the teacher, and the next activity uses slides 31 through 39 to display key facts of income inequality, and students will take notes in their Google Doc journal. Then the teacher will provide key data using a link to a set of Google Slides. The students will be asked to make additional comments or raise questions they have during the presentation and make the responses on the Google Doc journal. For asynchronous time, students will be viewing a couple of videos. One is entitled, What Does Income Inequality Mean to America? And the students will respond to a set of questions that go with the video. The second video is called Land of the Free, Home of the Poor. And students are to watch the video and make comments on it using their Google Doc journal. There's a formative assessment provided to assess students' learning thus far. For those teachers comfortable using Nearpod, Time to Climb, the questions can be used for that type of checking for understanding and making a game out of it. And the teacher can use either that or a handout, which is provided, that has a bank of questions found on the link provided. Now in the next section, explain, students are assigned into groups of 4 or 5. Each asked to read a specific article and make a presentation to the class with a summary of the key facts in their article and posing 2 larger discussion questions. Their asynchronous time is for when students can prepare their presentation. and the formative assessment is when students actually make the presentation. A handout for the teacher and the students showing the articles and accompanying rubric can be found using the link on the lesson. Next, we come to the elaborate section of the lesson, and the teacher is going to be introducing the activity of a debate on income inequality using the inquiry arc. The question to be resolved is, should America's economic growth and/or equality of opportunity be a primary focus instead of the increase in income inequality? There are guidelines for running the debate, can be reviewed with the students and accessed on the lesson plan. How to use the inquiry arc, which students are expected to integrate into their lesson, is also provided. The asynchronous time is for when students will be preparing for the culminating event. We put them in breakout rooms and they can be working in their groups to help get ready for the debate. Resources are provided for students, including debate guidelines, videos, and articles, as you can see here. The last section of the lesson is evaluate, where the students engage one another in a debate on income inequality. So the main debaters will be using a Flipgrid to make and also using a Google slide presentation. The teacher will be facilitating the debate, as the rest of the class will be participating in the debate as well during the question and answer period. This is normally a lively and highly engaging activity, as the students who are debating try to persuade the rest of the class to vote on their position. The final activity for the teacher is to give all students a set of questions that mirror the early initial online survey that was given at the outset of the lesson before students were exposed to the content. This is to help students give them time to reflect on any perspective changes and as a result of the lesson, and for the teacher to gauge the effectiveness of the lesson and use it as part of the debrief. So some final thoughts on the lesson. Again, it was designed for distance learning, but can be also used for in-person learning as well. It has innovative ways to engage students and give them options in their discovery. The lesson is very comprehensive, and the teacher is free to choose some or all of the lesson, depending on how deep they want to take it with their students. You can find the link to this lesson on the HSS lessons at californiahss.org link, which is provided right here. And I do hope you will find meaning in adding this lesson to your curriculum. Feel free to share this lesson with your colleagues, and thank you for watching.